If you think diplomacy is still on the table for the US and Iran, you might be wrong, because the US military seems to be setting the scene for something else. According to multiple reports, the US military is ready for possible strikes on Iran, and the timeline is shockingly close. Some outlets claim the Pentagon could be prepared to launch an attack as soon as this weekend. But the word is, President Donald Trump has not made a final decision yet. Reports say the United States has already assembled enough air and naval power in the region to carry out a major strike campaign in the coming days. The reports also mention that Trump has privately argued both for and against launching military action. Even polling advisors and allies try to figure out what the best move would be. On Wednesday, top administration national security officials reportedly met in the White House to discuss Iran. The US wants Iran to give up its nuclear enrichment, which Tehran claims is strictly for civilian use. Iran also says that no country can deprive it of enrichment rights.
We have stated this many times. My own statements are not important. What matters from an ideological standpoint is the policy and the fatwa of the supreme leader. We are in no way seeking nuclear weapons. Whatever form of verification they want to carry out, we are ready for that verification to take place.
Well, two countries held the latest round of nuclear talks in Geneva on Tuesday, and Trump was also briefed on the progress. The meeting ended without any clear breakthrough, but Iran's foreign minister claimed both sides agreed on a set of guiding principles. However, US Vice President J.D. Vance downplayed the progress, saying that Iran is still not acknowledging Trump's red lines. Meanwhile, the White House has increased the pressure.
Iran would be very wise to make a deal with President Trump and with this administration. He's talking to many people. Of course, his national security team, first and foremost, and you know who the members of that team are. And this is something, obviously, the president takes seriously. He's always thinking about what's in the best interest of the United States of America, of our military, of the American people.
Well, Iran is now expected to submit a written proposal outlining how it wants to resolve the standoff within the next 2 weeks. But even as the paperwork is being drafted, the US military buildup is expanding. Washington currently has 13 warships in West Asia, including one aircraft carrier, the USS Abraham Lincoln, 9 destroyers, and 3 littoral combat ships. Add to this the 50 fighter jets that Trump sent near Iran recently. Iran is now rushing to protect its military sites. Recent satellite imagery show that the country recently built a concrete shield over a new facility at a sensitive military site and covered it with soil. Tehran has also joined with Moscow to conduct naval drills in the Sea of Oman. So now the world awaits. Well, over the next few days, Trump could choose diplomacy or detonation. And Iran's response could decide whether it becomes a forced negotiation or the opening chapter of a new war, with severe consequences for the region and the world. Well, for more on this, we're now joined by Kadira Pathiagoda, who's a geopolitics expert and a former diplomat and author. Joining us live now from London. Welcome to the programme. There can be no doubt that this is a serious US military build-up. To what extent do you think there's still time to avert a war?
Well, I think in terms of time, there probably isn't much time in this. It really depends on the factors inside the US administration. So there'll be two sort of forces clashing against each other. On the one hand, you've got Trump's base, which is anti-interventionist, which wants a radical change in US foreign policy to stop the forever wars. On the other hand, you've got the Republican establishment and Trump's donors who want to please Israel, want to please the military-industrial complex, and who want to strike Iran at the very least. And then there are those who want to actually undertake regime change. I think Trump will probably weigh on the side of a limited strike, or even maybe an attempted kidnapping of the leadership, given what happened in Venezuela, but falling short of regime change. But I think they'd also be very mindful of the retaliation that Iran has threatened and is likely to undertake.
Yes, you touched on something there. I mean, in reality, do America and Iran have good reasons not to go to war? Trump says he's a president of peace, and Iran says it's happy for any verification of its nuclear facilities.
Yes, I mean, Iran's actually offered to, pretty much everything that the United States would want if the United States' goal was to stop Iran getting a nuclear weapon. But unfortunately, in terms of the negotiations, the United States has put some demands on the table that are non-starters for Iran. So things like its missile program, which is its only line of defense against Israel. So there's definitely a benefit for both countries in terms of their national interest of not going to war. I mean, if the United States did strike, Iran has said that it's going to draw a line in the sand. It's not going to do a limited retaliation, and it could have really devastating effects, like in terms of disrupting shipping in the Strait of Hormuz, for example, which would really impact the global economy, which would have an impact on American citizens, and that would put pressure on Trump as well.
Well, indeed, what could be the consequences of military action for the region and indeed the world?
Yeah, so there's the shutting down of shipping, which would probably be the biggest impact globally. Obviously, Iran would also try to attack American bases and American allies in the region, so it would target the Gulf states, and that would further increase the price of oil globally. So it would create some real hardship around the world. There's the risk of it becoming a drawn-out war, which would have flow-on consequences in terms of even China-Taiwan, for example. China may take that as an opportunity when the US is bogged down in Iran to actually try and move on Taiwan.
Thank you indeed for your insights, and thanks for joining us.
The streets roared her name. Supporters climbed rooftops. History seemed ready to repeat itself. Then it happened. A flash. A burst. Panic swallowing cheers. In seconds, Benazir Bhutto was gone. Not voted out, not defeated, but assassinated. Catch the full story on the assassination at these times, only on Firstpost.